What is up, chocolatiers? Smile 2. Pretty good little film, I ain't gonna lie. One of my favorite horror movies of this year, and that is all because of Naomi Scott's performance. That's right. We are getting good horror from Paramount again, 2 years later after the first. But before we get into the full review, I'd like to thank today's sponsor. Check out W Energy. It's fueled with clean ingredients to fuel your day, whether that be through gaming, studying, or even workouts. Unlike other energy drinks, W will not give you the jitters or that dreaded crash. It comes in a variety of great tasting flavors, so there's something for everyone. Want to save on your first order? Use code Mr. Chocolate for 10% off from your order. Level up your energy and stay focused with W. Link will be in the description below. And now, on to the video. Smile 2 is directed by Parker Finn, the director of the first movie in 2022. And in this film, you have Naomi Scott playing the character Skye Riley. About to embark on a new world tour, global pop sensation Skye Riley begins to experience increasingly terrifying and inexplicable events. Overwhelmed by the escalating horrors and pressures of fame, she must face her dark past to regain control of her life before it spirals out of control. Now, this is a direct sequel. And when they say direct, they mean direct. This movie takes place literally a week later from Smile 1, and I really like to see that. The opening scene of this film, without giving anything away, is very, very good. I think that it starts out so strong, very powerful, and actually, in a way, a little less scary, but more on the tension, if that makes sense. So it's more of kind of like akin to like, you know, kind of like a Spiral intro without all the rap music, but like it's kind of different. That's the only thing I can really tell you. It's not like that at all, but it doesn't start out with like, oh god, it's crazy fucking thing, it's demon. It's not like that, and I really like the way that this movie takes its approach, especially considering that you've already seen the first one, you know what to expect, you know what's going on. And it also kind of gets you into the feel of the tone of the movie if you haven't seen the first one, which is really good because I think that this movie, in a lot of ways, is better than the original. And I keep going back and forth trying to figure out, do I think that the original's better? Do I think this one's better? But before I do all that, I do want to get into the original film. So the original film, special place in my heart. I watched it with a old friend of mine, not friends anymore, R.I.P. And when we watched it, we really thought there were some funny moments, some goofy things that were supposed to be really funny, or not really funny, but really scary. And overall, I think our experience was great because some of the scares worked, some of them didn't, but I think the ending is what worked for us. Over time, mainly last year when I rewatched it for my Oktoberfest that I do every year, I didn't really love the ending because a lot of that character that we get from the first film, she is overcome with this grief. She's trying to figure out what's going on, whatever. And it's almost like, oh, she overcomes it. Oh, wait, she loses. And movies like that, especially horror movies, I get it, but I don't love it. Especially whenever they give you a character going through all this stuff at their lowest point, overcoming the strong. Oh, you can never beat it though. And so I was really curious to see what they did with the second one, and I can for sure tell you this. For right now, I'm thinking it's better than the first one. Naomi Scott gives a damn good performance. And when I say damn good, I'm talking about like boogers out of the fucking nose, snot nose crying type of performances. This girl, I feel her pain, okay? For example, her character Skye has this mental tick, and this starts like before anything happens, like with the, smile demon. And like she, will pull her hair out, right? And just small things like that we see from her character, because she went through a traumatic past where her and her boyfriend at the time were driving on this road, and they ended up crashing their vehicle, and he was like a movie star, like a big movie star or whatever, and he dies, she doesn't, but she's got like a scar from like right here, and then on her back, right? And so she's already kind of going through some shit. And I do like that we continued that trend from the first movie. That was one thing I really liked, where you have people that have already went through something traumatic, going through something traumatic, which doesn't really help people believing you because they just think, oh, it's psychosis, or oh, it's this and that. Meanwhile, this is actually happening to them. And that's what I really liked with the first movie, the fact that she actually worked with patients like that and she became one herself. Now, in this film, they take a little different approach because, you know, she is a pop star. And so with her being a pop star, she, you know, she's famous. And so when famous people act crazy, everybody's like, oh, it's those damn drugs. I'm going to get Mariah back on that stage. You know, get her ass up there. Yeah. And so in this movie, you know, it reminded me of a whole lot of other films. I guess I would say, where you have somebody telling you something. So kind of like the first Smile, where it's like nobody believes them, whatever. But where this movie is totally different. So in the first film, my boy Mr. Gallagher, he is pretty much like the duo with the main character. At first he don't believe her, but then he kind of does, but he still helps her, whatever. This movie's different. Skye has no help. Every time that she sees something, every time she's doing something, it's in her mind. She's going crazy. Shit's going wild, especially in the third act. And like this whole time I keep sitting there thinking, like, dude, she's alone. She has no boyfriend. She has, you know, her mom's her manager. She has no actual friends. Like, she has, like, really nobody that's, like, in her corner that doesn't just want to use her for money and fame. And I think there's a good story to tell there, and I think that they actually told it pretty well. I really think, like I said, you know, if the Oscars gave a shit about horror movies, and, you know, if this was in its own category, I think that this is definitely one of the best performances in horror movies I've seen this year. It's definitely up there with, you know, Immaculate from Sydney Sweeney, the main character from First Omen. Like, you know, I feel like it's up there with a lot of those, and even like Substance and stuff like that too, like with Demi Moore and stuff from the clips I've seen. And I don't know, like, I just feel like this movie finally got it. Like, I feel like where the first movie, you know, where there was flaws, where it's like, this movie gets it. Like, the soundtrack is on fucking point. It's perfectly creepy, but it's also not. And it's so fucking funny that this movie has a great soundtrack. And the reason why I say this is because I was watching Nightmare on Elm Street the other day, and I was like, man, this theme song is fucking gas. Every time Freddy's showing up, it's like really creepy. It's kind of like childish, but like, you know, also like giving like that, you know, little fun, play, whimsical thing, you know, whatever. And I really was like, man, I wish that horror movies would bring back these soundtracks instead of like this so scary crap, whatever. And this movie had, like I said, it has like a theme. It's like the Smile Demon has one, and I really like that. And another thing that I really love about this movie is the fact that the director knows how to kind of play with your emotions, especially with jump scares, because there are some, but I feel like they're not cheap. I feel like they're earned here. Like, you'll have, you know, certain jump scares where you're like, oh, I know that's going to happen, but it ends up being in a different way that you think. You know, you have certain characters that do certain things, you're like, oh, fuck, and then a jump scare just happens, right? Even like that, you'll have a jump scare within a jump scare. So like, uh-oh, fuck, oh, you almost got me. Oh, no, you got me. And even like that, I feel like the demon almost shows up less this time around. And I think that worked out for the film's favor too, because this movie is like running at 2 hours and something. And I don't really remember how long the first one is, but I just feel like she saw the smile creature everywhere in that first one. Like, literally, like, if she went to go take a shit, she's like, damn, he's in the floor with me, watching me. He's gonna wipe my ass for me. And in this film, like, there's so many scenes where, like, Skye's doing something, and you're just waiting for that thing to peek out. You're waiting for that creature to jump out or that jump scare to happen, and nothing happens. And so I really think that works out for the film's favor, because whenever something does happen, it's fucking paying off. It earned that. The third act, respectively, too, there's certain scenes that just work for me because of the tension that it's been building up to, especially in a hospital, then, you know, a driving scene that happens, and if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. I feel like all that just works beautifully. I think the director outdid himself. I think he finally got the budget he really wanted for this one, this one was $28 million. And it shows with the gore too. That's the last thing I want to really touch on. The fact that, you know, like when Homeboy, you see him in the trailer, like where he kills himself, like with the, you know, the, oh my God, the weight. And even like that, I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, when I watched the trailer, I was like, oh, like, they're going to cut away or something like that. Or, like, they'll show him hit himself once. No, they show him repeatedly keep hitting himself till he dies. And just the gore, just the way everything looks, is so good. It's not that fake blood looking shit. And that, like, I feel like you can tell it's clearly CGI. It's not practical, but it's not like, you know, for example, I watched The Killer's Game, like, last month. And the blood in that looked fake, and you could tell it looked like video gamey. It doesn't like that here. This looks like they used the money for the kills. They used the money for the budget, because even like that, there's so many shots in this movie that's so beautiful, like where they have it kind of inverted. That's like the new thing where like they like have stuff upside down and like, oh, it's like a reverse, you know. And I get to play on things, and I really just love this movie. This is definitely one of the better movies I've seen this month, which is funny because even though I was excited about it because I liked the first one, I think the first one's like a solid 8 out of 10. You know, I think I put it there. This movie I'm going to give a 9 out of 10, and it's chocolate seal approval. I think that the only complaint I would really say is that because the creature does show up less, there's a lot of slow parts. There's a lot of parts I feel like maybe you could cut maybe 5 minutes out of this movie, maybe 10. But outside of that, I think that everything builds up for a reason. I think the tension's good. And I really, unlike the first one, really like how this movie ends. A lot of people won't, mainly because the third act it goes a certain direction, and I feel like a lot of people aren't going to like that. But it does go in a direction that I thought it was going, that I was hoping it was going, and it makes me actually excited for a third one, like more excited than I was for a second one, because the second one I was excited to see what they were going to do, but then when I saw it was announced, I was like, oh, okay, and instantly from when they told me that what Skye did and all this stuff, I was like, oh, I know what they're going to do, and with that, I am so excited for a third one now. And I hope that you guys like this video. I hope that you guys hit that subscribe button. Please do so. And if you guys watched this film and you really liked it, please comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what your favorite horror movie is for the month of October. If you've seen Terrifier 3, if you've seen this movie, what movies did you think were the most fun? And we're counting Monster Summer in that. If you've seen that movie, that fucking banger with Mel Gibson, you let me know. And with that, comment down below and let me know. Like and subscribe for more, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.
I love my popcorn.